I'm doing this little protein experiment, and I know I've been slow about coming out with a video for it for my fans, but I'm really hitting the research on it. And I really think that a lot of people that have been either unsuccessful on this diet or who have relapsed like I did because they had gotten to the point where they were not eating enough and they were feeling weak and they ended up cheating, really. I know, or they feel cold or they feel, whatever. And I had got to that point a little bit after I had lost all my weight years ago. Now, it took a few years for me to gain the weight back, but because I was pretty strict on everything. But I think there's something to be said about being careful not to undereat, because Jason Fung, Dr. Jason Fung, has a book that he really brings out the fact that your metabolism, folks, when you eat less than what you're supposed to eat, your metabolism's coming down, guys, and your hormones start getting screwed up. So it's something that you really need to think about to make sure that you're coming down slowly but surely with a moderate deficit, not a huge deficit. You're just defeating yourself when you do that. So
Mhm.
yeah, that in my opinion, and this is something I'm actually learning. I'm learning from last time that you need to make sure that you're eating enough to not make the body feel sluggish or brain fog or feeling bad, but eat enough to feel good. You're still going to be at a deficit. I really believe that, and what that quantity will be different for Dean. It'll be different for me. It'll be different, especially if you're a female. It's just going to be different, guys. Don't I think I think you should look for how do I feel? Your
Mhm.
body's gonna tell you, "You're not feeling good." Something's wrong then, guys, if you're not feeling good. If you don't have a lot of energy, something's wrong, you know? Mitch that I had on the show one time, he said, "You're getting a leg cramp. That's your sign that your magnesium's low. Listen to your body." And maybe you don't know the answer to it, then start asking people that do. That's how I started this, protein experiment. I talked to, Todd Bachnis. He knows a lot more about this specific thing than I did. I took his suggestion and ran a experiment. Now, what if it had been wrong? It's okay. That experiment would have failed, and I would have thanked him for his advice, but it would have failed. But it didn't fail. So be willing to listen to people that maybe have more experience than you, and run a little experiment, just a little experiment, and for a week or two, and see how it goes. Sorry, I'm
Mhm.
gonna ramble on about this because I think it's very important. I think people are getting defeated because this diet is so good that it cuts your appetite down to literally nothing, and then you end up eating too little,
Right.
too
Yeah,
little.
that's so true. That and
Your
you're
body's not
yeah,
fooled. Your body's
you're
not fooled at all by that. Yeah.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's why, if you fast too long,
Yeah.
your metabolism is gonna slow way down. It's gonna put the brakes on. What's
Yeah.
going on here? We gotta quit burning this fat. We gotta save this now because
Right.
because of what you're doing. And
But if
so
you
that's
eat enough if you eat enough during your feeding times, you can fast with no trouble, and your body's not gonna be upset about it at all. Have you found that to be true?
yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, no, I'm talking about if you're already
Oh,
underfed and
yeah.
you want yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, you'll feel weak. You
yeah,
just feel weak. Yeah,
yeah.
that's true.
That's true. That's good, Bob. I think I listened to pretty much the same what you're talking about right now on one of your videos. I think this was
Yeah,
an older one,
yeah.
and, talks exactly about that. You have to listen to your body. We're all different. I
Yes,
think
we are.
you compared, what animals eat,
Yeah,
dogs, cats, that kinda
right.
thing, and, they go for what is good for them naturally,
Yes, yes. They
instinctively.
don't plan it out, they don't
Yeah,
measure it out. No, no. It's true, and we will too, and how we know if we're doing it right is if we are feeling good. If you're not feeling good, if you're getting up and you can't hardly get your mind awake enough to focus on what you're supposed to do, when you first get up, something's wrong, folks.
yeah,
If you want to fall asleep in the middle of the day, something's wrong, folks. You shouldn't be sleepy in the middle of the day if you're sleeping good and you're feeling good. You shouldn't. So if it's there, you've got to pay attention to that and say, okay, I'm doing something wrong. And now let's investigate that thing. That's my opinion.
Mm,
So,
yep.
don't be afraid to run. I love to run experiments. I do it in my business. I do it in my personal life. I always run little experiments where you control one thing and see if that one thing will move the needle or not move the needle. And if
Mhm.
it moves the needle, then you tweak and tweak on it and see what happens. Because I believe that's the best way to figure out what's wrong or what's right with your diet. Don't be afraid and forget dogma. Just forget dogma, guys.
Yeah.
Try to
Yeah.
stick hardcore carnivore if you're able. And if not, then maybe you have to tweak it outside it. This is not religious. This is a hack, really, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But it's also our ancestral way of eating. But you can hack it, guys. It's not a you're not going to be excommunicated, at least by me, if you do something a little different.